How's it going, guys? Welcome to Frank's Media and Reviews, and I have such an exciting live stream, guys. This is going to be dang fun night, and I'm so happy for everyone to join. And I'm just going to kind of get into it really quick. But first, again, I just want to thank everyone for joining tonight. I want to thank the panel for taking the time out of their day, their busy schedule. And yeah, I think we're just going to have so much fun talking about the 2024 horror films because it was a spectacular year. And there's a lot to dive into last year. So let's just kind of get all into it, guys. Today's first guest, first time on the show. I love Alex's channel, man. Such a great informational channel to deep dive into the horror genre. And that's Alex from Beyond the Void.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. Next is almost a dang regular, man. And that's my buddy Ken from Sledgehammer Horror. What's going on?
What's up,
Ken?
guys? Just very happy to be here tonight, man. Got my coffee. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and congrats to your lines, FYI.
Thank you. Yes, that was awesome.
And next is the first time here. She has a wonderful horror channel. And also, I like to plug her secondary channel as well, which has a lot. And that's how kind of like I discovered her channel because, again, physical media content collector. And that's her second channel as well. And that's Kylie from Haunted Hippie. What's going on?
Hi, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Of course, looking again cozy up in the up in hell or down in hell or whatever.
Up, down.
Down.
Hell.
It don't matter. It all feels the
Right.
same. Yeah. And then next is actually my first time. He was my first interview for the Physical Media Collectors Physical Media Club, and I'm excited to have him on. So thank you, Cody, for coming on. And yeah, Cody Leach, what's going on?
Hello. What's going on, everybody?
Doing good. And we kind of chatted earlier about you just looking all fancy for the Critics' Choice. And
Trying. It said black tie, otherwise I would have just shown up like this and be like, whoop. But they have standards. So
yeah, you're gonna kill it, dude. I'm super proud of you. That's so fucking cool.
It is very cool. Yeah. So I followed the only standards that they gave me, but I got some heavy metal cufflinks to at least stand out a little bit. So if I get kicked out for that, it'll be worth it.
Yeah. And next is my man Davey from Davey Death Ray. What's going on, Davey?
What's happening, man? I'm pumped about that. I'm more excited coming on this panel than just going on my own channel. So I'm super pumped for this. Have a little conversation. Usually it's just me talking to the camera. So pumped to be hanging out with you guys for sure.
Yeah,
Frank said your check's in the mail, Davey.
Yeah. A couple, like, I don't know, $1. So my bad. YouTube doesn't pay well, so
yeah. Don't I know it?
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted everyone here I wanted this panel to be very horror specific because we're talking about a phenomenal year. I thought it was 2024, just so many different films that if you love religious films, they got it. Slashers, they got it. I mean, just up and down, just zombies. I mean, every damn thing that you can think of from the beginning of the year to the very end of the year. And I think that's something to be celebrated for sure. And for have such wonderful, knowledgeable people within the horror genre. And so thank you guys again for coming on. And before we start really quick, I just want to say quick shout outs to the chat. Really quick is that Ryan down in the comment section. Thank you, Ryan. He has posted everyone's links to their YouTube channel. So again, thank you, Ryan. Very cool. And if you're not following everyone on this panel, please do so. They're all badass. That's the first one of tonight. And so, yeah, let's see. Wrestling God. Yeah. So, you know what, man? I don't know. Is that Stu from Scream?
Gotta be.
My
Yeah.
theory is he died from a TV landing on his
Jeez, please, for the love of God, he's dead.
That's
Come
what
on,
I saw.
Moving
And
on.
then, yeah, and then we got John supporting Haunted Hippie.
Thank you.
And Big Rod. Again, guys, we got a lot of stuff to go through, so I'm going to go through this pretty fast. So again, I do apologize. Cody is your dad, still Lions fan.
He wasn't for a while, but I'm sure he's back in the fray now.
When are you doing the ranking of every movie you've seen? Didn't you already do that?
No, I wish I'd already done that.
That was
just
the horror
dropped.
one, right?
I just dropped my. Yeah, I ranked all the horror.
Okay.
I dropped my worst of today. My best of will be tomorrow, and then Hell or High Water on Thursday will be the big giant ranking.
Nice,
Wow.
nice. And Evan, welcome. Appreciate it. Follow his channel, Rockland Graves
What's up, Evan?
Productions.
Amazing channel.
Yeah, William, thank you, William. I really appreciate it. Definitely seems some new faces, so I appreciate it, guys. And I'll go through a couple more again because we just got a lot of stuff to go through, and I just want to have some great, deep conversations about it. So, and throughout the chat, tonight's live stream, I'll just pop up comments and stuff like that. So, guys, the first topic that I want to discuss again, because 2024 was a phenomenal year for the horror genre. I would like from you guys to just mention like one or two, totally up to you guys, honorable mentions, like you know your best of, some of your favorites within 2024. So I'm going to start off with Alex, Ken, Kylie, Cody, Davey, and then Moa. So
Now, out of curiosity, are we talking top 5 and then anything below that, like honorable?
exactly,
mentions?
like so, like 6 or 7, whatever, just barely edge.
I mean,
barely
there's
made
so
it.
many. God, I feel like you know what? I'm going to mention one that nobody's seen yet and can't see yet. So, and I know everybody hates that, but you know, you got to keep your eye out for it. And it's a movie called Test Screening that I saw at Fright Fest, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I was talking about it last night, but it's like a movie that's got like a Stephen King thing about it, with like a small town that gets infected by a test screening that's coming that people think is going to be Star Wars Revenge. And they basically go to the theater and get brainwashed, and suddenly people start going crazy. And there's a lot of body horror, and I thought it was fantastic. And if you're like a horror fan, I'm not saying that if you don't like it, you're not a horror fan, but you know, if you are a horror fan, you will see a lot of nods that are done so tastefully that it is not in your face, like exploitative, like nostalgia. And it's really well nuanced stuff. So I really loved it. And I hope people get to see it soon because it's a really good movie. So
yeah. What about another one? You know, maybe people that have seen.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough. You know, maybe I'll pick one from my lower, even lower ranks here. There was another movie that I really enjoyed that a lot of people really didn't like. And I thought it was really funny. It took a while for me to laugh, but by the end I was kind of howling. And it was, I don't know if it's really necessarily horror, but it is kind of, because it goes pretty graphic, but it was Crazy House. And I know everybody hated that movie, but for some reason, I think it deserves your watch.
What is that? I haven't even.
Okay, so Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, right? Nick Frost, he stars in this fake sitcom sort of reality. Like as if a sitcom jumped off the page into your television and was like being disrupted by some, like, I don't know, like just like I don't know how to explain it. And these two Russian guys come to their door and they're going to fix their house. And he plays this really dumb character that's in the house that looks exactly like Married with Children. And it's like this old 90s sitcom. But as the movie progresses, it turns into something else, and everything in the movie changes. Like and it's like it's a mind fuck. Like I don't even know how to explain it. If you are religious, I wouldn't maybe not watch that one. But I really thought it was hilarious and really messed up. The beginning is going to kind of throw you off a little bit and make you feel uncomfortable. Like, am I supposed to laugh? But by halfway through, I was like, oh, I get it. And then you just, yeah. So.
And you said that was Crazy House?
Crazy House with a K.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I'm writing that down. Nice. Well, thank you. Ken, what about you?
I'm just over here trying to figure out me and Cody are going to square up. So,
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
So stupid. So my honorable mentions. One, I'll do a little lesser known movie. It's a European movie this year called The Moor.
You got me
I
to
really-
see that, man. That is a good one. Yeah.
I really did dig that movie. It's about this murderer that kills children, and then he's about to be released from prison. So they go and they're trying to find some type of evidence or proof of what this guy did, so that way they can keep him behind bars. Like that's pretty much the non-spoiler synopsis of it. And then the other one I'm going to give an honorable mention to is Late Night with the Devil. When I first watched this movie, I thought for sure it would be top 10 easily. But there's just 5 movies above it that I like just slightly a little bit more. So yeah, that would be my 2 honorable mentions.
Nice. Thank you. Kylie.
So I wasn't sure if this one was like considered a horror movie, but I see that the poster is right under me. Strange Darling was my number 6. It was so close to cracking my top 5. And then also surprisingly, I loved Heretic so much that ended up being like my number 7. I just loved Hugh Grant and I love the theory craft of it. But the ending was kind of what kept it from being in my top 5. So I mean, it was such a good year of horror though. Like I'm looking at the rest of like my top 10. I'm like The First Omen, Terrifier 3, Lisa Frankenstein, Oddity, like Infested, Mads, like these didn't make my top 5, you know. It's tough, but it was a good year.
So many movies that are like in their own category. It's like,
yeah,
how do you even compare? So
yeah.
Cody, what about you?
Yeah, so a couple quick ones. There was a movie called What You Wish For that came out that got really heavily overlooked that played at Fantastic Fest last year, and I missed it. So if it's a really demented, if you like foodie stuff, like if you like things like The Menu, it's kind of taking that in a different direction. So check that one out. One that I'll show some love to because it seems like nobody else on planet Earth, except for Ken, I think Ken likes this one, showed some love to Salem's Lot. I'm on an island with it, I guess. I enjoyed Salem's Lot. I didn't get all the hate for it, but the last one that I'll give a shout out to is one that everybody's going to have to wait until this year at some point to check it out, but it played at Fantastic Fest. It was really cool, called Strange Harvest, Occult Murder in the Inland Empire. It's a massive title. But it's basically a fake documentary. It's like if somebody made a documentary on the Zodiac Killer, but the Zodiac Killer's got like a supernatural twist to him.
What?
Very, very well done.
Good.
Hold on, you said Strange Harvest?
Strange Harvest, and then like the subtitle is Occult Murder in the Inland Empire. So they're looking for distribution.
Yeah.
I think that lady's tired of hearing from me, trying to find out about distribution.
Nice. Well, thank you. Davey, what about you, buddy?
Yeah, 2024 was awesome. There was something for everyone. So really, really cool to see that in horror because we're a fickle group, but we're also a very passionate, loving group. My honorable mentions are going to be Terrifier 3, which I enjoyed quite a bit. I'm so happy that it was just over 2 hours. I'd love to see no slasher movie ever be longer than like an hour and 50 minutes, but I guess we just don't live in that world. But I really had a good time with that one. And yeah, I thought that art was just, so much more fun in that one. And we got some breadcrumbs on the lore. I think I wanted a little bit more, and that's what sort of pushed it out a little bit. And then my next honorable mention is going to be Abigail. That one for me is kind of like a C+, B-. I thought it was good. Everyone in the screening loved it. And I was sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I'm like such a jerk because this movie just isn't really hitting that. It's just not fully resonating with me. I think I have a radio silence, some sort of dissonance there with those guys a little bit. But
just wait.
I did like the sudden blood explosion, all that kind of fun stuff, and some good uses of humor. Kind of reminded me of like House on Haunted Hill 99 with the little girl vampire. So I liked those moments that reminded me of that for sure.
I think Davey just threatened me with his honorable mentions.
I know, Cody. I knew this was going to be a problem, and it's okay.
My honorable mentions, all of Cody's favorites. They're not quite good enough. Moving on.
You know what? No, I'll say this. I will say this: if you make a movie and Cody Leach likes it and Davey Deathray doesn't, no one knows who the hell this guy is. So good on you guys for pleasing one of the best in the biz.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. And it looks like that's the real fight. So.
Yeah, Ken, I'll deal with you later.
Yep, I'll be waiting. I'll pick up the pieces, man.
There you
go. Such a damn good year for horror, man. Holy shit. All right, so I'm gonna have two honorable mentions. One is going to be Long Legs, just edged it out. I really do like it. It honestly was between this one and another one that was in my top 5. This was number 6 for me. I had to rewatch it earlier today. I'm not gonna lie. So just to confirm my decision. But freaking A, man. Yeah, Monroe, obviously Cage, but then all of the actors are so damn good. It's a very captivating storyline. But yeah, I mean, Cage steals the damn movie with the time that he's on there. And then the other one is Exuma. I love international films. Asian horror films is my jam. And like one of my favorite films is Incantation. But Exuma, I love this film. If you haven't seen it, 1, it's on Shudder. 2, it's about just a family that seems like they're cursed within their firstborn child, and they go to shamans to see what the hell they can do to help save the damn family. It's Asian folk horror, and it's the 9s, man. Especially like the ending. I just simply love the ending to this. I love crazy endings, and this is fantastic, man. So as you can hear, I'm very passionate. I love these damn films, and there we go. So top 5, guys. Number 5. I'm gonna again start with Alex. We're gonna go the same thing. So number 5, Alex.
People are okay. So throw your hate, if you will.
Haters ball.
Alien Romulus.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I think it's a lot better than some people give it credit, but to each their own. So
no, tell me why you love it, man. Because
yeah,
of course, man.
Yeah, I didn't know if we were going to just spit it out and then but yeah, no. I actually really liked the CGI in it. I thought the ending wasn't CGI. I thought it was actual human being. But yeah, I thought the story was really cool. I know that some people had issues with like the younger cast. Maybe they couldn't relate to it or something, but I thought it was nice, fresh, new. I wasn't expecting anybody to die. I wasn't like looking, I thought they did enough with the practical effects in it. I was actually surprised by the amount of practical effects that were in it, which really made me happy. Mm-hmm. And it makes me appreciate Fede a lot more because of that. And it just looks so like it fit in the universe. And out of all the like sci-fi horror movies this year, that was just one of the best looking and feeling, and just what a really great ride to me. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, some people really did make or break on the end there. Totally get it.
Yeah, I love the ending. I love, again, crazy endings, but I thought it was just weird and fantastic.
I love the ring around the planet. Like that whole thing just looks so beautiful, man.
And again, since I'm like a horror physical media channel, man, the 4K is fantastic, and the Dolby Atmos is balling, man. Oh, so good. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Did anybody on this panel not like it, or why were you expecting hands?
Because it's at least from my
I've
channel,
got
a lot of people don't like the ending at all. It's too weird.
Not just the ending. A lot of people get really pissed off about all the remember berries and all the nostalgia and the deep fake and everything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I can.
We'll be talking about it again shortly. To say that,
I can see their complaints on that, but I don't think it's anywhere near enough to ruin what that movie was. That movie was still dope.
I think it's one of those situations where the people that really liked unique directions for Alien to go, like Prometheus and stuff, don't get along with those of us that have been shouting for decades now, like, just go back to the first fucking two.
Right.
And then they finally do that, and all of us are like, woohoo! And they're like, bullshit.
Yeah. I finally acclimated to the new shit. Now you have to like dislike this one.
Yeah. I had some close friends that didn't like the cast because they just, it just wasn't their thing. The young
Team
cast.
Andy, baby.
My dad said that. My boomer father said the same thing. He was like, the cast is kind of young. I couldn't really understand them. And I was like, actually, me too. Like, I kind of could have used subtitles, but,
I like how you said boomer dad, because I'm pretty sure your dad and I are the same age, big head.
My dad's 65, Ken. You are not. Ken, you could be my older brother.
He's 62, so I mean,
I love
damn. Ken, you're number 5, buddy.
My number 5 is Abigail. I really, really like this movie a lot. I thought the cast was great. I saw it twice in a weekend because Ashley and I went to see it. And once we kind of saw it and understood it a little bit, we took both our younger daughters to see it, who are 4 and 12, and they both absolutely loved it. So yeah, it was, and I think that everything about this movie, this is the type of movie where I think CGI blood works. Like I said, the big blood explosions and stuff like that. When it's so over the top like this, I feel like it works really, really well. And every character in the movie, you at least had some type of empathy for in some way. A lot of belly laughs throughout the movie. The minute we left the theater, my youngest daughter was like, "Daddy, can I say something?" And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Am I going to get in trouble?" Yeah. And I was like, "No, what do you want to say?" And she was like, "Sammy, those are fucking onions." And she thought that was the funniest thing. And she is turning 5 on January 16th, and she wants an Abigail birthday party. So we have had a hell of a time trying to find a cake maker to make us a ballerina vampire cake, but we finally found one. So that's what she wanted. She was Abigail for Halloween. So I think that those type of things really helped to solidify it. And when Ashley and I met Alicia Weir, who played Abigail, and got to interview her, she did a very special shout out for my daughter Kenley, my youngest. And she's watched that video like 1,000 times. So like I said, man, that really helped to solidify. It made it a little bit more. It made it a little closer to home to like the movie so much. So Abigail number 5 for me.
Yeah, one thing I do have to say about it is that my wife, she didn't even see a trailer for it. So like the impact of that film really like hit her, and the twist and everything. So just looking at through her eyes of the twist was pretty damn badass. And I love how Abigail just simply just goes with it, right? It went with it with a little bit of the acting, the dialogue, and of course, like the horror itself. And that's what I love, is that movies, they kind of know what they are, and it just went with it. So that's what made, for me, Abigail so fun to watch. Kylie.
My number 5 is The Devil's Bath, which I feel like not enough people saw. Yeah.
Wow.
Is
That's
that
a heavy
low
one.
of like?
Yeah.
This is heavy.
Yeah. That one just hit really close to home. Just because it takes place in the 1750s. And it feels like in a lot of ways we're kind of still right there. And then I don't really love bleak movies. Like the original Speak No Evil, I didn't love, but that also was because just like I felt like those characters had no survival instincts. But this one was like, I just felt her so bad. Like I just felt her so bad. And then also like the really subtle mix of a little bit of folk horror elements. Folk horror is probably my favorite subgenre of horror. So it also had that going for it. And then also I'm kind of a slut for like the Robert Eggers like naturalistic lighting thing. I just thought it was like a really beautiful movie too. And like when I reflect on it, I'm like, it was so bleak. Like it's usually not my kind of movie, that I don't really know fully what it is. It just hit me so hard. I just really connected with it. That's it.
Damn,
I feel like-
Kylie. That the beginning of that damn film. Oh my gosh, man! I was like, what the hell?
It did a lot of stuff I hadn't seen. Maybe that's another reason. Sure, that opening
Yeah,
and the
They
ending.
really,
Like
they
the,
really drive home the point in a lot of scenes, man. Like it's really like good.
yeah,
It's well made.
yeah. The
Yes.
end caps of that movie are just like so intense, and that's probably also why it resonated so much. You know, it's like horror movies that have stood the test of time. Usually, there's like a baller ending like that. So that's also probably why. Maybe a little bit of recency bias in there too, but yeah, I just loved it.
I am not gonna lie. That your pick definitely surprised me. So
Oh, my dad hated the movie. Like he couldn't
Yeah.
understand. He didn't understand why I loved it at all. Like I really had to go through the whole spiel and like explain it to him because I gave it 5 stars on Letterboxd, right? And he gave it a half star. He was like, I see no redeeming qualities. I was so depressed afterwards. And I was like, yeah, but anyway.
Was he like, are you gonna have kids?
And I said, maybe. I said, I haven't decided yet. Yeah, I'm sure as hell not ending up in a marriage like that, Dad.
Oh my
Don't worry
God,
about
man.
me eating rat poison.
Yeah.
All good. Hey, no worries. So
Oh my goodness, man. Okay. Thank you, Kylie. Cody, you're number 5. Oh,
Ah,
Terrifier 3
wonder.
comes in at number 5 for me. I really loved the second film. I enjoy it more every time that I watch it, and I got really excited for 3. And of course, I watched it like the best possible context at the world premiere at Fantastic Fest. Got to hang out with Lauren and Damien very briefly and watch it in the theater with them. Mike Flanagan's like 6 seats behind me. So it was pretty wild. But I really just enjoyed what they did with this. I was a little nervous because they were saying for a while, Damien was, that they were trying to push it more back to the first film, which I'm not as much of a fan of. And I think he struck a really nice balance in this one where you get kind of more the grindhousey feel to it. It's a little bit darker in tone and a little bit more mean-spirited like the first one. But they didn't really shave off as much of that crazy, fantastical lore and everything that I love from the second one. So you get a really nice mix in here. I love the vintage Christmas setting. I like that it doesn't look like Christmas 2024. It looks like Christmas like 88. And I think Lauren Lavera and David Howard Thornton just continue to get better in these roles. So I loved everything that they did in this one. I can't wait to see what they do next.
yeah, a great one, man. I do have to say is that with Terrifier 3 is that it just again doubled down on 2 really. The comedic horror gore type of thing, and that's what I truly love. Me personally, I don't think it's like the best franchise. However, I am ecstatic that it doubled down. There's a big horror fan base for it. Some people think like art is already an icon. Again, that's of course debatable, stuff like that. However, I'm glad that we have such a very popular villain, right? Because it's been really a long time since we had someone this like high within the horror genre. So that's what I'm here for. And plus, damn it, it made a ton of money in the box office, which means people are seeing it. And that's what I love. So
was it 85 million for the third one?
I
I think it was 85 million in the box office, something like that.
dude, yeah, it killed.
They made like
man.
46 times their budget back. Or
Yeah.
something. It was
wild.
the highest grossing unrated film of all time. And I think it was the most profitable film of this year. If not, it was close. It came this close to outperforming Joker Folie à Deux in the US, which is pretty wild.
Really?
I kinda wish they
I thought
would've.
it did. Yeah, dude. That's
Maybe they did. It was close enough where it was either they just did or they just didn't, but still.
yeah.
You know.
Oh my god.
The fact that it's in the conversation.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sequel to $1 billion film gets shown up by
Yeah.
a clown.
Oh my gosh. That's a dumpster fire right there. So Davey, buddy, you're number 5.
My number 5 is Nosferatu. I thought it was, I had heard such mixed things about it. I love the early Robert Eggers stuff. I mean, The Witch and The Lighthouse are just incredible to me. I love, like, the older I get, the more I become a fan of deliberate, purposeful use of the camera and creativity with that. So I kind of like lean into that. some of the performances in the movie didn't really do it for me, but there were actually, I was very surprised at Aaron Taylor Johnson because I don't think he's that good. Like, I enjoy Kick-Ass, but Age of Ultron is really bad to me, especially him. And he's really bad in Godzilla, him and the Olsen girl. But so he kind of blew me away in Nosferatu. I was like, man, this guy's put in like the best performance I've seen from him. And I thought that the, Nicholas Hoult was great. I love the, just the whole mood of the film. With Robert Eggers, I kind of just want him to do his own thing and create his own projects, but I know this is something he's really passionate about, and you can tell. And so I don't know if number 5 is too low for it, for a lot of people, but I think for me, with the rest that I have here, that it's a good spot there for Nosferatu. And can we, Art the Clown's an icon? Can we just put it to bed? This is it's a 3-year-old conversation that people said it 3 years ago, and now they're still acting like it's not. And it's like, come on, like he is. We're done. He's an icon.
I don't. He's not top tier for me. But
how many movies does he have to?
Your personal ranking doesn't matter.
But he's I was in your spot with Terrifier 1, where they're like, he's the new one, and I'm like, chill the fuck out. But I think Terrifier 2 solidified it. I think by the success of 3 and seeing how much merch, like the fucking dude, like basically took over Hot Topic at this point. I mean, it's Freddy in the 80s.
Yeah, he was in Call of Duty, man. They just put a skin of him in Call of Duty.
He's in Call of Duty.
Yeah, I bought that actually. I bought that.
And I'm not even so, like, just real quick on that. Like, I think I'm so happy that Terrifier exists. I don't need a bunch of imitators that are going to try to do the same thing, because I think it's so niche that I just like, that's all I want. When it's extreme gore, Terrifier satisfies it. With other slashers and other horror movies, I like more dynamicism with like the kills and the gore and everything. But I get what the point is of Terrifier. I know what it's trying to be, and I think it does a good job at being that. So let's put that conversation to bed.
I think it's definitely its own unique kind of blend, right? Like, whether you like it or not, it is you can spot it. Like, even the other characters that they're running with, like they've done in like I think they did in an anthology recently, and then they did this other thing that you can just feel like Damien Leone's and some of the producers vibe about it. I don't know what it is, but it's very different than most other stuff.
Yeah. Back to your number 5 really quick, Davey, is that I have to watch the film again. I thought it was the cinematography, acting. I mean, anything that William Dafoe is in, you damn know I'm going to watch it opening weekend. However, I didn't like it as much as I thought I would, which really surprised me because I love Eggers.
Definitely give it that second watch, because I felt the same way, because I've always been kind of like casual is kind of almost a reach to say I was a casual fan of Eggers. And I watched it at first, and same thing. I was like, movie's beautiful, a lot of great performances. Story kind of feels like I've watched this 17 times before. And then I sat on it, and I was like, man, let me watch it again. And I watched it with subtitles, which I never do. But his old English sometimes is a little hard to understand what's going on. And on second watch, I was able to look past just all the crazy imagery and just kind of dive into the story, and I enjoyed it so much more. So I think a lot of people that were kind of iffy on it, I would say watch it a second time. You might surprise yourself.
One more thing I want to mention really quick that I sort of noticed, because I've got, I played music for so much of my life. There's a really interesting, like almost iambic pentameter, like cadence to some of the line delivery, where it seems like the dialogue was written specifically so these lines could have some rhythm to them. And I started noticing like, wow, that's kind of like a deep cut Eggers sort of thing to do. And, something I wouldn't necessarily notice, but kind of caught me there.
Yeah. One is that I have to say thank you to Splattercast. So Dylan and Luke, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Join the stream. Thanks for making this happen, Frank. Yeah, no problem. So many wonderful creators all in one place. Love y'all. So especially with that, wear the hat. That's right. They used that earlier, so that's what you were referencing to. So
it's glued on.
Yeah. Don't want to see what's underneath it.
Yeah, it's scary.
So thank you guys. Thank you so much, Splattercast. Appreciate it. Follow the channel, guys. Wonderful horror content as well. My number 5 is going to be a movie that surprised me, man. and that is Heretic. I think seeing this movie made me really look at myself in some way and realize that I fucking love religious horror films. Even like, so like Saint Maud, just like you can go on and on and on. But like this movie, first of all, Hugh Grant, his acting is phenomenal, very captivating. I love every little thing that he kind of touches upon, and even like the conversations, the dialogue between Thatcher and, I apologize, the other actress's name, but they talk about many. Yeah, go on.
Chloe East. Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
It was
yeah,
surprising, by the way.
Yeah, they touch upon many different religions, and I like how they talk about each single religion and how it just relates, how it's kind of connected, even to like some board games and stuff like that, music stuff, you know. So I thought it was just phenomenal, man. Very it was very the tension was incredible, man. I just loved it. I love the ending. It's kind of like up to the viewer, right? And their interpretation. I thought it was very smart, directed, everything. I can gush about it all night damn long. But Heretic, phenomenal movie. That is my number 5. Alex,
Is it weird that I think that movie, I watched it like 3 times, and I feel like that movie almost has some of the same impact that like The Matrix did, which is a really weird thing, but it made people who were religious question their own religion, like in a subtle way that they may not have realized. You know what I mean? And I think there's enough in there for people who are not religious as well. So it's kind of got a little bit of everything. So
the theory crafts are like the same. They're both like about control, really.
Right.
They come down to the same thing.
Yeah, and oh man, yeah, that's the beauty about this damn film. Yeah, it's like the whole dark side of that stuff. Oh man, thank you, Kylie. Alex, you're number 4.
this is one that I really hope more people watch because I really think it's amazing and it is so well done. It's an Argentinian film called Deus Irae. I think I'm saying it correctly. It's on Screenbox and you can, but it's a religious film. So it's one of those ones that is not like any other religious film that I've ever seen. It's about an exorcist named Javier who is a drug addict because he can't handle all of the exorcisms that he's dealing with. And he's gotten to the point where he almost doesn't believe in God because God's not helping him. And it's so bad that the exorcisms are just diabolically, like, just horrific. And like some of the gore and everything in this movie is just insane. They do something that some people in the horror community probably won't like. And this is for those like H.P. Lovecraft purists. It mixes H.P. Lovecraft, demonology, sort of, elder god stuff with Christianity. And so his exorcisms all mirror one of the gods. And it is phenomenal. Like, I was blown away by how dark and just, I wrote the director and I was like, okay, what is it that you guys are drinking out there, man? Because seriously, like, you guys go hard. It's like, we got Damien Rugna coming in here fucking taking out children like it's no big deal. And then you come in here and do this stuff. Like, what is going on over there right now? So, but I actually really liked it. And if you can set that H.P. Lovecraft thing aside, I think you should watch it immediately.
Really?
So,
oh damn.
What was it? Deus what?
Deusirae. 2-word. Deus Irae.
You know how to sell a damn movie.
Dude, I love this movie, man. I was like, I had to taper, when you get excited at the end of the year for a movie and you're like, I gotta calm down, this is one of the last ones. I don't want to put it at number 1 just because I'm excited. But yeah.
Oh man. Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much, man. Ken, you're number 4.
I'm not going to talk a lot about it because it's already been talked a lot about, and that's Heretic. On performances alone, I thought it was great. I love how the ending could go two completely different ways, which I've had deep talks with some people about. I think that I'm not going to say because the movie's too new, but I don't think it's a happy ending. I think it's a sad ending. But yeah, I loved the movie. The performances were great. And it was nice to see a movie where they didn't either force religion down your throat or make religion a complete joke. It was like right in the middle. Each one had their merit on what they believed and what they said. So it was nice to see that, 50-50 split in there where you usually don't get that. You usually get what the writer believes shoved down your throat. And I really don't think that they did that in this film.
That's actually, yeah, well said, man. Seriously, thinking about that right now. Yeah, you're right about that.
It was more of like a deconstruction of religion than like belief, which is more individual. So
Right.
yeah,
Personally,
felt that. Yeah.
Yeah. Kylie, you're number 4.
Oh yeah. My number 4, like it's another one that I'm not totally sure is a horror movie. It's a dark comedy, Your Monster, with Melissa Barrera. Did anybody see this? Did anybody see this? Okay, because I saw it in theaters. And it's just this wonderful quest of this girl exploring herself. It's about self-discovery. It's about leaving ancient men in the past. It's hilarious. She's so charismatic. Like the chemistry of the leads I thought was so great. That one felt really similar to like Lisa Frankenstein, where I feel like it's kind of for like a special group of us girlies. I think a lot of people probably wouldn't like it very much, but it hit me so hard that it ended up in my top 5. And I'm sorry if people don't consider that a horror movie. I was a little bit stuck with where to put it.
I think that's fine. I think it's perfectly fit for that.
Thank you for validating me.
I do. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I didn't
what
like it
I
as
came
much as you.
for.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, the scene of them at the thermostat and then him ended up, that's me and Ashley. 100%. I'm like, get the away. I'll put a padlock on that damn thing if you keep touching it.
I actually haven't seen that movie.
You're out, Cody. We can't hear you.
I bought the digital one so that my wife doesn't even know how to use it.
Cody, you're number 4.
Speaking of seeking validation, haters be damned. Number 4, Alien Romulus.
Whoa.
So, yeah, I loved what this movie did. Like, is it perfect? No, it's got a couple of issues here that I certainly acknowledge. I think that the deep fake character, unnecessary. There's a lot of ways they could have done that to be better. I don't think that we need the callback lines to be so on the nose. That always makes me cringe. I don't know who likes that. Maybe there's some general audience members that when they hear "get away from her, you bitch," they jump up and yell. Everybody that I saw it with was like, "Oh." But beyond that, I've been wanting this type of movie basically my entire life. Something that's going to blend the first film and the second film. I think Fede did a perfect job with that. I really like the 2 surviving characters, and I assume we're going to be following them again. I'm happy he's coming back to do the sequel. Way too many times we get one of these like legacy sequels that are based on nostalgia and it's really successful, and then that director just passes it off to somebody else who's not nearly as good. And so I like the fact that Fede is at least going to stick around to follow his story through for one more. And I really dug what they did in the third act. I'm a bit of a defender of Alien Resurrection, so I'm not as hard on that third act as most people are anyway, but I thought this was a significantly better version of that, a lot creepier. That image of that thing just like in the shadows when I first showed it, I was like, what the fuck is that? And then I kind of like it sometimes when you have something where I'm like, ooh, people are really going to be pissed about this. I kind of like that. And so, yeah, I dug this one. It's one of my favorites.
Nice. Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, man. When I saw that movie, the end of it, I thought it was a damn CGI, but it wasn't. It was, I forgot. It was, I think he's Romanian, I think. But anyway, yeah, that individual. Holy shit, man. Yeah. Great. Love all the practical effects that go into it. It's just wonderful, man. Adds a little TLC to that. So, Davey, you're number 4.
All right. Yeah. Is there anyone that's better at taking an existing IP and making an awesome legacy sequel than Fede Alvarez? I mean, Evil Dead 2013 is one of the best out there. And then here we go with Alien. He just seems to understand where those creators are coming from and knows how to like work it into his style. I think that's like a pretty unique gift. And yeah, Cody, I think you're right. It's a good that he's coming back. You have some consistency.
I think he comes to it genuinely as a fan. Maybe a little bit too much of a fan in this one.
Yeah.
And the second one, he'll calm it down a bit. But yeah, that makes all the difference in the world.
So guys, my number. Yeah, it's tough. Man, doing Evil Dead, I was side-eyeing that whole thing. And then when it came out, I was like, you know, it was
levitating.
Oh my gosh, I was just like, this is amazing. Because I'm more of a fan of the more horror-driven side of Evil Dead. The comedy stuff is fun, but the original is still my favorite. And 2013 is just right there, nudged up against it. And my number 4 here for this year is Smile 2. I was kind of like, oh gosh, watching the first Smile, I think I just saw it for the first time like 6 months ago. It was recommended by a friend. I sort of stayed away because I was like, I don't know, is this some sort of like pop, like walking sim horror movie? You know, there's so many of those types of horror movies where some entity is like following and there's all these rules and all this it's just its own subgenre at this point. But I thought the first film was really fun for what it was. And then I think this one, they just really leaned into everything that worked. Of course, they upped the ante and everything. Naomi Scott, I looked it up and she did the singing and everything, and she has a beautiful voice. I think that's awesome when somebody is a multi-talent like that. And she really sold just the dread for me and the paranoia. And then, you know, I'm not going to say anything to spoil it, but, you know, towards the end, when you start realizing that, you know, when there's a couple kind of surprises that sort of flip the way you've been looking at the previous sections of the film, I thought that was really effective as well. So I love that they just like took it up a notch. I really love when a sequel doesn't just do a rinse and repeat, and they actually are like, all right, well, how can we expand on the lore? How can we take things further? How can we just give it a little bit of a different tilt on the perspective and give the audience something that's like familiar, but does feel brand new and feels like it could stand on its own, you know? So I really dug that one. I think it's a solid number 4 for me.
Yeah.
You know, what's funny about Smile 2 is you're not the first person. Actually, more people than not phrase it in that way of like expanding the lore and doing something wildly different. And I liked it, but I felt the opposite. I was like, okay, we're just kind of doing the same shit again with a pop star. And so it's wild how people see that movie in 2 like varying different ways.
I think it's wild people weren't around for Lemonade Mouth. You didn't know Naomi Scott could sing. I was there like 10 years old when Lemonade Mouth came out. Oh my God. I've loved her since I was so little. And she was so great.
Now she's Boss Water Mouth and I hate her and I want to punch her right in the Boss Water Mouth.
And I got to say too, I love the way they sort of pushed the gore for, you know, if the Smile movies came out in the late aughts, it would have been bordering on like PG-13. Those movies, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's really cool now that you can have something it is mainstream, but that I you know, the gore is there and brutal. I guess kudos to Terrifier for normalizing it. there you go.
Sponsored by you.
Okay,
I passed the end cap at my local grocery store and I literally just stopped. Traffic be damned. And I took a picture and sent it to Ken, just waited for his response.
He texted it to me. I was like, you motherfucker.
I got people in my comments when I reviewed that movie that were saying, oh, well, the director said that it wasn't actually sponsored by Voss. And
are you serious? That definitely
I just
every 2 minutes.
believing that.
I'm pretty sure it has to be, otherwise they would have to name it something else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I don't know.
Liar.
Maybe he was like, this has to be in here because this is her character. And it's like, and then
maybe the story idea came first and then he found a water sponsor. Maybe that's what he meant. But yeah, they definitely got some money from that.
Well, I just want to say, shameless plug, tomorrow on our channel, I'll be doing my top 10 worst horror movie endings of all time while we're talking about Smile 2. So make sure you guys check that out tomorrow.
Tomorrow, guys. Look for it. Love it, Ken. Love it. I thought Smile 2 was okay. I prefer Smile 1. I can't deny Naomi's acting. Holy smokes. I think one of the best of the year from any actor. Oh my gosh. Yeah, too much advertisements. A little bit, but anyway.
Madam Web?
Say it again.
Madam Web.
Oh,
yeah,
Madam
Web.
Bad guy was killed by a Pepsi sign.
Brought to you by Pepsi.
Yeah.
There
Oh
you
my
go.
God, we have a star in
Oh.
our midst.
There we go.
Abigail
Well,
has
Abigail,
arrived.
what's going on?
What
My
was your favorite movie this year?
What was it?
What was your favorite movie?
Abigail?
Yeah. Are
Good
you gonna have an
choice.
Abigail birthday
Yes. And a Megan
Awesome.
one.
Nice.
and a Megan birthday?
And a Megan one. You and my daughter would get along famously.
All right, tell everybody have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thank
think-
you.
Night.
I think she has more subs than I do, Ken.
Yeah.
Good on her.
She's pretty amazing. I'm lucky.
My number-
in my ear.
My number 4 film
Daddy, I want it.
is a French film, and I actually have to thank my buddy Mike right over here for telling me about it, and that is Mads. That was the film that was like on the cusp of like, and I had to rewatch Longlegs and Mads, and oh my gosh, man. If you haven't seen Mads, again, I love international films, and that one is just fantastic. Just a I went into it blind, so I didn't know exactly what the story plot was, and I don't know if I want to like say exactly what exactly goes on in it, but it's
No,
very
don't.
yeah, it's very tense. And the development between each character, what transpires, how it ends, it's maddening, it's chaos, I love how chaotic it is, and just brutal some of the moments are within that movie. And it surprised the shit out of me, man. Again, because didn't it come out like in October? It was pretty late into the year, right? Maybe September.
It was
October?
probably October because it premiered at Fantastic Fest, and that was like the last week of September.
Yeah, it was phenomenal, man. And I think more people need to know about it. So I obviously have to thank my boy Mike for letting me know about it. And if you guys haven't seen it, see the damn film. It's phenomenal.
Definitely some breakout performances, like people
Oh my
that just came out of
gosh.
nowhere. Like you look on their like letterbox credits, and it's just this
Nobody.
movie, and you're like,
Yeah.
where did you come from?
Mm-hmm. I love the transitions of like the individuals, like what happens. It's very cool. Obviously, it reminded me of some other popular horror movies, especially one that is going to be coming out later on this year in 2025. But just similar vibes, music as well. I thought that was pretty similar. Anyway, guys, I love Mads. See it. Alex, you're number 3.
Stop motion.
Yes,
Which,
I love you, man.
I love that movie, man.
Yes.
I think I understand that it might be a little slow for some people, but I thought it was like rewatching it the third time. I was like, this is just like really, really creative, and like a lot of the there's some subtleties in it that I don't think I recognized the first few times. And I watched a movie this year. It just came out as a Blu-ray release on Radiance, and it was Viva la Muerte by Arabal, who was Jodorowsky's. He was like Jodorowsky followed him, and there were subtle hints to that movie in it, and which has to do with like a myriad of things. Like it's hard to explain, but there is just a lot of depth to that movie that. And even on the surface, just the vibe and the feel of the movie, how they deal with the like complex metaphors of things that seem kind of surface, but there's just so much more going on under it that I don't know, that you could just find something new, I think, a little bit each time you watch it. But the vibe of it and just the idea of creativity, and I loved it, man.
I have to say, I love the beauty within that film. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, the animation to that is just. I mean, even if you take it for that, like it's just
creepy as hell, dude. Like
yeah,
it's
man.
something wrong with it. And then when the suggestion that person makes, I don't want to spoil anything, to add to the creativity, I was like, yes, okay, now yeah we're getting there.
Because it's done by the same director. It was Censor,
Robert
right?
Morgan.
Isn't it Censor the same?
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
It gave me like the same vibes, at least the same feels
He's
of Censor a little bit.
He's a claymation or animation artist, and he's done like I think like some ABCs of Death and things like that, and a lot of short films and stuff like that. But Robert Morgan is, I believe, a British fella, also written by Robin King. But yeah, what a great ride! I love that movie. I'm so glad to own it. I feel like it needs more, like a bigger making of than it had on the disc. So
we're gonna be really good friends, Alex. Hell yeah. Ken, you're number 3.
Again, not one I'm going to get much into. It is Strange Harvest, Occult Murder of the Inland Empire. It's like you're watching an episode of Snapped or Forensic Files. And it was great. It's just at the end of the movie, I was struggling to find negatives that I could bitch about. And I had a great time with it. I can't wait for it to be released so the world can see it. It's that good. I very, very much enjoyed it.
Nice. Yeah, man. Hyping it up. I need to see this damn movie, man. Hell yeah.
I know. I'm curious.
Watch you guys on, man.
Same.
Kylie, you're number 3.
My number 3 is also I play really fast and loose with the term horror, I guess, but my number 3 is Y2K. I just am in the very specific demographic that loves the stupidity of that movie. So I just found it hilarious. I also was with like a very ruckus crowd. It was a lot of like stoner film bros. That was kind of the vibe. I was like down in Burbank. And the characters really resonated with me. It kind of felt like some of the hooligans I used to hang around, like high school, college. Just a great new stoner comedy. And mild on the horror, but there's definitely a body count, so I think it counts.
I haven't seen it because that's new, right? Just came out.
Yeah. When was it? That was like the beginning of December.
Yeah.
Or end of November. Yeah, it was kind of recent.
They didn't really promote it very well on the release, like VOD release, like much at all. Like
even the theatrical release, it was like,
do very well. Yeah. It didn't do very well, and I don't think I knew that it was coming out. It was kind of like I was looking for something to watch with a friend down in the area, and it was like, oh, what's this? Like, Jaden Martell, Rachel Ziegler, like, what's going on? And then I loved it.
Nice.
I think I wanted it to go more Maximum Overdrive, because like it's like the premise is like machines come to life, and I don't know. I just wanted to go buck wild with it. And I hope they remake Maximum Overdrive because that would be fun.
I've never actually finished that one, to be honest.
Really? Oh man, I love it.
What?
Yeah. No, I've got some catching up to do.
Really?
Sorry, not to flex my youth on the panel, but there's a lot of movies I haven't seen.
Dang. Yeah, Maximum Overdrive.
See, when I hear someone say that they're young, I mean, to me, it's like, oh, I just want to show you everything. You know what I mean? Like, I want to share everything that I like so that you can enjoy it, like I did. So
I'm working on it. Yep. I have a huge physical media collection. People send me stuff from all over the last century, so I am catching up. I'm catching up.
Nice. Cody, you're number 3.
Number 3 for me was The Substance, movie that came out of nowhere. I always tell this story. I was at Fantastic Fest. I'm doing all these exciting things. I'm talking about Terrifier 3 like almost a month early, and it seemed like nobody gave a fuck. They were like, yeah, whatever, dude. What about The Substance? When are you gonna go see that? And I was like, what the hell is this movie? Like for 5 days, that's the most common comment that I got. So we actually left the festival at like a slower day to go to a different theater to go check out The Substance. And yeah, that was a ride. I think it's the best body horror film that has been released in my lifetime. And I loved seeing Demi Moore do something so bold and fearless at this point in her career. I love the fact that she's already starting to get awards. I think it'll be absolutely poetic if she walks away with the Oscar for that one, because that's like the whole thing that movie's about.
Please.
The crazy thing is it's a movie that is just so over the top and wild and grotesque, but the most effective scene to me is just where she's going nuts in front of the mirror, like trying to change her outfit 16 times with no horror whatsoever happening. So absolutely loved that one, and I had the joy of watching it with my parents at home. I was just like, oh, let's just watch this one, and so I just kind of like sat and watched them the whole time, and like it was like over and over. They're like, what the fuck? What is this? And so it was a good one.
Yeah. And hell yeah, Brian. Definitely. I'm so happy that the horror fans are rejoicing over that, man. She won Golden Globe.
Dude, her
So-
speech was amazing. It was poignant.
Yeah.
It was just so amazing. And I was just like, man, everyone's gonna back on the Demi train now. I was like, that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hell yeah. Davey, you're number 3.
My number 3 is The Substance. Yeah, really enjoyed this one. I am a body horror guy because I've, Evil Dead. I guess that's sort of, I mean, it's Evil Dead is like demonic possession, but not religious demonic possession. So like, to me, it falls in that body horror. I really dug that aspect of the film. I love of course, the social commentary. I thought for how like clear and obvious the point is of the story, I didn't feel like they bashed you over the head with it. I thought that it was like really well done. It's a beautiful looking film. It is like Kubrick shot this thing. I mean, the color palette, the use of the camera, the set design is amazing. Of course, the performances are all great. I thought Dennis Quaid was really hilarious. He must have just had the most fun time making that movie. He might have been like Jaws 3 level coked out too, or at least tapping into a little bit of that past that he had. Yeah. And I think really the only thing, I don't know how often I'll revisit the film because it is about a half hour too long, in my opinion. I felt like, okay, I get the story you're telling. I'm ready to see this wrap up. I feel like you've made all your points. And I'm just one of those people that like, admittedly, like I like movies to just sort of be a little more succinct on the runtime if possible. But it certainly didn't take away from, it's a solid number 3. It was a wild ride, an awesome experience, something I would recommend that every horror fan has to watch. I mean, they just knocked it out of the park. So kudos to everyone involved with that film. It was amazing. And for everyone that's like, how come there's no more nudity in horror movies? That movie's like, hold my beer. So kudos
how awesome is it that Quaid's character in that movie's name is Harvey? Like that to me was so.
I didn't even.
Well.
Oh man!
When they said Harvey, I was like, I see what's going there.
I thought it was ironic that he plays like a play on Harvey Weinstein, and everybody in Hollywood was like, "Hell yeah, look at Dennis go!" And then he plays Reagan like a month later, and like, look at this piece of shit playing Reagan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid's a bit of a conundrum.
Yeah.
He's great. I mean, as far as a performer goes, I mean, he always brings it.
Yeah.
I always loved him.
For sure. Just really quick. Again, I didn't want to interrupt anyone, so I'm just waiting until when it's my turn. Thank you, Chase, for the $5. Haters be damned. I enjoyed Salem's Lot, so take that. Thank you, buddy, so much. Follow his channel, Chase. He's great. Good friend of mine. And then Brian B-Dubs, Movie Hub. Again, follow his channel. Kylie and Alex, a sub to your guys' channel. So
thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for catching the rest of it for tomorrow, buddy. I really appreciate it. So thank you, everyone that has done those super chats and everything. Really appreciate it. And for the lively chat, y'all. So hell yeah. My number 3. Again, so Heretic in this one, I saw, and Mads, I guess, Regency. I don't know if it's Regency bias or anything, but damn it, I love those films, and I love this film. Again, I try to stay away from trailers as much as I can. That's just me, man. And so this film was flipping amazing, and I'm talking about Strange Darling. Strange Darling is so damn good. Oh my god, man. The acting, the storyline, Willa, holy shit, man. Amazing. She to me is I don't know, man. Like, I mean, I guess we'll hopefully maybe we'll talk about later on for overall performances, but just the chemistry between her and Kyle. And I love how it just breaks down in the chapters, and it's not linear. It breaks it up, right? It's all different times and everything. And I just loved how it was. They told the story within each chapter, how it came together, and it's Oh my god, it's so damn good, man. I can't wait. Y'all, this is the 4K K Black Pictures holla. But
Is that the German media book one? Or-
yes, sir. Yes,
Go
sir.
off.
Hey man, physical media, baby. You know how I am.
Hey, I'm
Just
right
gotta
there with
show
you,
it.
buddy.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, I could just I can't I just couldn't believe like that's one of to me that was the most surprising film of the year for me. It was phenomenal, man. So oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and a lot of people don't may forget this, but Giovanni Ribisi's first cinematography, which is like he's been doing it forever. Like what the hell? I was not expecting it to be that phenomenal. So it was like Long Legs, or I don't know, like the cinematography is just really good. So
So damn good. How the film looks and yeah, oh my gosh, man. Yeah.
It was wild watching that one. It premiered at last year's Fantastic Fest, and I saw it in the same theater as the director. And some of the festival crowd gets a little testy with certain subject matter. So without saying too much, there's an assault that happens very early on in the film, the way that they play it out sequential. And a lot of people started to get up and leave. Like they're like, oh, this type of movie. And the director, you could tell he was just like, fuck, no, wait, stop.
Yeah. Come back.
no.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, man. Oh, dude, yeah. Stick with the story. Stick with the movie, man. Holy crap. So it's so good. Okay, sorry guys. Number 2, Alex.
Well, mine is The Substance on that one. This one blew me away. I particularly love, like, I think it was Ken that was saying, just like stuff in the mirror. Her performance is just, you really feel what it's like to feel that way, and I think it's probably because she relates to the material in that way because of what her speech said. Like, holy shit, I was like, this was just a match that was like perfect. There's nobody else that should have played this role. And not to take away from the other lead actress who was phenomenal as well. And she did everything like exactly how it was supposed to be too. And just the perfection and everything. And, that young style that they did in it. I just love the dichotomy between the two characters. And the end in particular, what I mean by that, I'm not going to spoil it, obviously. It had like 20 endings. And it's like, I love that Coralie Fargiat, I think that's how you say her last name, went and kept going. Like, she just kept going. And I was like, yes, this is what Hollywood needs to do more of and stop being so scared to take chances and stuff. But some people didn't like the end. I get it. But I love that.
Or the middle or beginning.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good. Yeah.
Something's wrong with your connection, Ken. I don't know.
Super stylish though. I thought it was very stylish too. So
yeah. Ken, you're number 2, buddy. Former buddy.
My number 2 is the only good movie this year involving a pop star at a concert, and that's Trap. That is.
I don't know if we heard you right. I think something's
coming
wrong
at you
with
with
the audio.
Yeah, I look. This movie has plot holes so big you could drive a semi through them. I understand that. But god damn it, I had such a fun time with this movie. Like, it was such a fun ride. Josh Hartnett's performance in this movie was so good.
Hotnet? Did I catch that?
Oh, you definitely did. Yeah, with Josh Hartnett, I went there. I had such a blast with this movie, and I think like this movie to me really got good in the middle of the second act. Like from the middle of the second act on, once they left the concert, I just had, and it's really fun when you can watch a movie and you're having anxiety and feeling worried about the bad guy getting caught. Like that to me is like, I love that. I was actively rooting for him. Fist of cups, Cody.
And you blew it.
Yeah, I definitely did. Like I said, it's not a great movie, obviously. It's not like an award-winning film, but I just loved how much fun I had with this movie. I rewatched it. I had just as much fun on a rewatch. Yeah, I will defend this movie till the end of time. The scene of him and his wife in the kitchen, you know, like that whole dialogue between the two of them in that
I thought that was really good. Yeah,
so fucking good.
Stop it.
Well,
Yeah, so my number 2, it's gonna go to, for the longest time it was my favorite of the year, but it dropped down to number 2 recently. So yeah, number 2 is Trap.
I'm happy for you, Ken. I'm happy for you.
I'm the old get off my lawn guy, man, because like I wasn't a big fan of Strange Darling. I wasn't a big fan of The Substance. I wasn't a big fan of Nosferatu. Like, I think I'm broken. Like, there's something in me that's broken. I like crap, and I
maybe.
I've been
broke
married
my
for 20
heart.
years.
I mean,
I've been beat
that
down.
helps.
Well, I do have to say, of course, it's well made. M. Night. If you watch some of the, I think so, man. Come on, the production value, special feature. You watch it, I think it's good, but yeah, I mean, I think that's all I can say. So I'm sorry, Ken. I'm sorry, Ken. You're turning to Stretch Armstrong.
Hey, when you get up to the top, it's pretty personal anyway, right? Like these are films that you're gonna like
there we
watch
go,
again,
Alex.
you know?
Yeah.
But I reject you, Ken.
Now you sound like everyone I went to high school with.
Oh damn. Kylie, your number 2, please.
My number 2 is actually Alien Romulus. I had such a great time, and then I posted my review, and it was like, oh, there's so much to hate about this movie. Apparently, like, sucks to be you guys, but not me. I understand. Okay, a little bit of a lack of originality. There's the CGI monstrosity or the deep fake monstrosity. That's fair. It just didn't deter my enjoyment at all. And also, I think that I neglected to go back, and I only watched the original Alien before I went to see Alien Romulus, and then I went back and like watched the entire franchise. I had seen like the first 4 movies, but it had been a long time, so I didn't even catch the like "stay away from her, you bitch" thing. And then like people in my theater were clapping, so some cornballs there. But
I want their names.
yeah, I'll write them down for you next time. I didn't catch them, but so I just thought that it like combined a lot of my favorite parts of the franchise. And believe it or not, I am a Prometheus truther. I am a Prometheus believer. I love Prometheus. But and I love the original Alien, and I love Alien Resurrection. Like, I am a staunch defender of it. Actually,
I'm with you on that one.
I feel it's kind of deeply misunderstood, just because like
it's so much fun.
It's so fun. It's so gross. It's like it has all the best freak shit in it, and I felt like Romulus kind of just tweaked it a little bit and like toned it down a little bit and made it a little bit more digestible, I guess, for like for a more broad audience. I feel like because people that might have loved it in Romulus, I'm like, well, Resurrection also, but whatever. It just combined a lot of my favorite things about the whole franchise. So
it greatest hits it.
It did, and I didn't mind because and it also did something new where like we have basically like the possession of a robot, the possession of like an AI person via company entity. Just something so unique, and like obviously possession is something that Fede Alvarez does well. So he even tossed in some of his own flavor, and I've said enough.
Can we talk about the music to it too? Holy shit, man! I love the damn score. Oh my god.
Yeah, they got really weird with it too. It was like very like 2 different versions, like old school with like new school, and I really love the kind of blend of it.
If you're really into scores and stuff like that, I saw this movie. It had this singer called Lady Raven in it. It had a really good score to it.
What the fuck is that?
Perfect.
I'm running out of shit, Ken.
Oh my god, Cody, that's fucking awesome.
Ken, I liked Trap. And also, I also
Oh.
liked Smile too. So I guess it sucks to be you guys because I like both of them. So
I like Smile too.
When Kylie was like, my number 2, I was like, trap.
So, Kylie, where would you place Romulus? Now, I don't know if you made a video about it or whatever.
Oh, my ranking. Yeah, I did a live stream with my dad. I think that
Same.
oh my god.
Yeah.
I think I put it at like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Listen, I put Prometheus at number 1. Listen.
Whoa.
I don't want to hear about it. And I don't want to hear about it. So,
Show's over. Show's over.
yeah, I was really into like all the nihilistic bullshit of that movie. I can't lie. I really love Prometheus. Maybe I'll feel crazy on a rewatch of that movie, but I watched it for the first time last year after watching Romulus and just didn't know that the Alien franchise like had that kind of material to offer. So I was really blown away. You know, we'll see how I feel on a rewatch. Everybody relax. Okay.
I'm just old.
I'm just old. Oh my goodness, man. Oh wow. That definitely surprised me, Kylie.
Everyone's
Kylie's top
speechless,
3 was
apparently.
Resurrection, Romulus, and Prometheus. So it was Prometheus, Romulus, Resurrection in that order.
That was mine?
Yep.
There you go.
According to
Ken,
Ryan,
Ken with the fact check. All right.
There you go. Bam.
I don't know how
Ryan.
people just
Yeah,
remember
wasn't me.
that. I can't even remember that.
Because it's so wild, it just stuck in his mind forever.
Fair enough.
Oh damn. This has been hella fun. Cody, number 2.
Number 2 for me was Heretic. I absolutely loved this movie. It was a secret screening at this year's Fantastic Fest, and I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, that looks good, but it wasn't like super high on my must-see watch. And I was actually kind of bummed out because the way that it played out is when you go to this festival, you have these different secret screenings, and they're a bitch to get into because everybody's trying to get into them on the hopes that it's something major. And so we're all thinking like, maybe it's Nosferatu. Maybe it's like we had like 6 different things that we thought it could be. And Heretic was one of them, but that was like down in the list of hopes. So when they revealed that it was that, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, whatever. And I walked out and I was like struggling to find a reason not to give it a 5 out of 5, which is rare for me. I thought that Hugh Grant was incredible. If I could give him the Oscar for Best Actor, I would. I voted for him for the CCA award, so we'll see how that goes. But nonetheless, I thought that he was the perfect mix of like super charming and charismatic, but like ultra fucking creepy all at the same time. And I really liked the performance of the 2 girls as well. But I think Ken kind of touched on this earlier. What I appreciated about it the most is that it was just written so well to walk this extremely tight rope of kind of looking at religion with a critical eye, with like real world explanation and reason, while also giving just as much power to the power of faith. And there's so much in the movie where they have this give and take and this push and pull, because one of the writers of the movie and one of the directors, he said in the Q&A that he actually married into a Mormonism. His wife was a Mormon. So you see a lot of that come out in the script, where him, as somebody that didn't grow up with it, probably looks at a lot of this and is like, this is fucking weird. And then also has to kind of respect it. And so you feel that with the way that it's written. It's like, this doesn't make sense. My real world brain puts this logic into it, but also acknowledging how helpful religion and faith can be for certain people, regardless of whether it makes sense or not. And so I just loved how they kept that going the entire time, all the way up to the final images. And it just, I thought it was incredible. So that was my number 2.
No, Somni, it is not an anti-Mormon movie. They bring up a lot about what this person believes versus what that person believes. So no, I would not say. I just wanted to. Sorry to interrupt, but I just
old arguments, debates on it. There's
right,
old,
they debate on
like,
it for sure.
Really?
They didn't trash. I don't think that at all.
No, I didn't get that while watching.
Maybe he did. I don't know, but I don't think so.
No, I think that they do anything but, because they're given the villain, the evil guy in the movie, all of the points against religion, and the good people in the movie are all the ones that are given all the power to faith. So that right there tells you that it's not one of those movies like Ken was talking about, where the director's like, religion sucks, here's why. And you just have to hear that for 90 minutes.
so damn. I think it's a smart movie, man. Well,
Very
written,
much.
like you just said, man. Oh my gosh, man. That's one thing I love about movies, especially within the horror genre, because that's my damn jam. Is that if it makes you think a little bit more than the typical horror movie, like that to me, like elevates it even more. And that's what Heretic did for me. So preach upon it, Cody, because that movie is the shit, man.
Mhm.
Oh my
One
God.
thing I thought that kind of blew me away a little bit is that the writers of The Quiet Place did it, which is probably leaning in the right direction, but I think this is better than it. And then they also did Haunt, which I was like, that's so straightforward
They did
for them to do.
5, which I
Yeah,
really
like,
did not like.
Yeah, like I get it, but
Yeah.
I love this straightforwardness because I miss
Mhm.
that old style, I guess.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was like blown away that this was the next. I was like, holy crap, these guys nailed it, dude. Like,
Mhm.
Mhm. Oh man, and I love Haunt. Hell yeah.
It's good to have
I-
that conversation. I think that's like one of the things that like we're sort of missing from our, collective society now is people feel like they either need to be so ingrained and so like, stick your head in the sand about what you believe and not listen to anything else. And it's like, man, if we could just get back to being able to have respectful conversation,
Mhm.
and it doesn't mean you have to give up what you believe in by any means, but I think it's a really important thing to, just to at least be able to listen to somebody else's perspective,
Mhm.
Exactly, man.
I'll get off my soapbox.
Exactly. No, man, that's perfect. That's what we
Preach.
need, man. Exactly. Preach.
this
That's
is far too
fine.
heavy for me.
Yeah,
brother.
Alex is out. Yeah. Oh, there goes my sub count. I've lost everyone. Oh shit.
No, man, it's going up, buddy. Davey, you're number 2.
My number 2 is Long Legs. I saw like the super small teasers that came out like last January or whatever. I think I watched the very first teaser trailer, but Frank, I'm sort of like you where I bailed on trailers by about like April or May this year. I was like, you know what? Once a movie has me, I'll watch that first trailer. If it's got its teeth in me, I'm done because I don't want anything. I don't want to overhype it. I feel like 2024 has kind of been the year of like the overhype too. And I feel like a lot of folks that maybe didn't enjoy Long Legs very much. I think there's a couple camps. There's like the overhype camp, and then there's but they didn't explain every little thing to me by the end of the movie. And like, I kind of like that. So that's one of the things I really enjoyed about Long Legs is that there was some, maybe not ambiguity, but still just a little bit of mystery. Like we didn't get to peek completely behind the curtain. I thought the performances were unbelievable. Like Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage and Blair Underwood. Wow. Like the 3 main leads. I know Alicia Witt's in there too. She, kind of spotty as far as her involvement as far as throughout the movie, but the 3 main leads were amazing. Again, I'm going to go back to what I said about camera movement and deliberate placement of camera. I think the camera and the cinematography in Long Legs is some of the best I've ever seen. It's sort of like a character in and of itself by either placing a camera in a spot and not moving it and having action go in and out of frame, or a creative, clever way of moving the camera, similar to what Demian Rugna did with When Evil Lurks. Last year there was some really creative uses of blocking and moving the camera. That shit like drives me wild in the best kind of way. Like I want to see more of that. I'm pumped for Osgood Perkins and the rest of his career because I think he is, just from a directing standpoint and a cinematography standpoint, he has me on the edge of my seat, and I'm just like, I'm waiting for the next frame. I want the next frame so damn bad. And the story in this one really got me. So, I mean, plus it takes place in the winter in the Pacific Northwest, and I grew up in Alaska. So when he's talking about the Mariners being good, I'm like, I remember when they were kind of good in the mid to late 90s. Could never get past the Yankees, but okay. So yeah, I mean, Long Legs to me, so solid. When I drove home from the theater, my wife and I were talking about it, and I was like, I don't know if I need to own that movie. It was really, really good. And then the next morning we both woke up and we were like, oh my God, fucking Long Legs, so good. Like just after sleeping on it, we were just like, holy cow. So I'll take all that you got. I'll take all the Osgood Perkins I can get. I'm super pumped on that one. I know everyone was like, it's kind of like a Silence of the Lambs thing. And I'm like, is that just because there's like a female FBI agent? Like how many movies have like cops trying to solve crimes, and they're not all, you know, Silence of the Lambs.
I saw an interview where Osgood said he intentionally started the movie to give all those feelings. So everybody's like, oh, I know what this is. And they get comfortable. And then it goes in a while and then it just fucks up their comfort. So
I think hook in the normies.
Yeah.
You hook, and I think that's a really cool thing about Longlegs as well, is that it was a movie that could appeal to general audiences. Like, my mom is in her mid 70s and she has a group of ladies. They all go to movies and stuff. And I'm like, I could see those ladies going and watching that movie, because all my parents watch are like those UK detective dramas and stuff. And I'm like, hey, Longlegs is not far off that. And you get Nicolas Cage doing like really cool Nicolas Cage shit.
I remember we did our trailer reaction for that movie, and throughout the whole trailer reaction, I was like, is this movie about spiders? And like we got to the end of the trailer, I was like, I don't think there's a spider in this movie. Like, I was so disappointed. I was like, oh, cool, another spider movie. And as we're watching, I was like, wait a goddamn minute.
Yeah, it's got that ambiguous
in this whole fucking trailer.
Yeah, it's got that ambiguous name. And one last thing that I'll say about it, like when I'm watching it, I'm like, this is like if Wes Anderson directed a horror movie. It's got that like beautiful look to it. You know, there's just something about it that sort of stood out to me where I was like, man, this just looks different. You know, he wrote me right in. What can I say? As Kylie had said earlier, I'm a total slut for some sexy camera movement.
Some 4:3 ratio. You like?
Ooh, yeah. Give me all that. Yes.
Oh shit, that's funny. I do have to say really quick before we move on to Longlegs is that I am on team Gretel and Hansel. If you, I know some of that movie. Some people don't like that movie, but fuck it, man. I really love that movie. I think that movie is very the cinematography to it as well. The imagery to that film is very good. The acting, guys, it's fucking phenomenal for me. And that's
Speak
also yeah, hell yeah, preach.
Good for sure.
But I love Oz Perkins, man, and I'm really excited for his up and coming movie. Maybe that we'll talk about. My number 2. This was my number 1 for a while, so I don't know if Ken remembered, but my number 2 is Oddity. I love this damn creepy ass film. Besides Dune Part 2, which I saw back to back, Oddity was the second film of the year for me that I had to see back to back nights, man. I love the imagery to this film. I love how haunting it is. I love how even they brought back a little stuffy in the beginning of the film to kind of bring the other film that the director brought into this film. But yeah, thank you, brother. But Oddity is so freaking good, man. The acting and the actress who does double roles did very well in this film, and just shit, man. I think it just gets you from the beginning. You know, I know that some people don't like the ending. I still like it, but I think overall for me, I thought this was like the creepiest film of the year. Again, for me. Also,
I hate to self-promote, man, but tomorrow I have my top 10 worst horror movie endings coming out. You guys should definitely check that out tomorrow at some point if you get the chance. You were talking about Oddity. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hell yeah, I'm talking about Oddity.
I'll
be the haterade.
What?
Haterade.
The ending is
This thing is a deadly,
hilarious.
scary monster. Just burn it with fire.
Oh, baby.
Nice.
You know, Oddity had one of the best scares in it, though. I would say for sure that I was saying last night that I felt like Doctor Strange when he gets punched in the chest when that fucking scene happened, and my whole spirit jumped out of my body. Like, I was like, "Oh my god, what is happening?"
Hell
That
yeah.
movie scared me. I feel like Oddity and Infested were maybe the only movies of the year that like actually like real like I was filled with dread and like felt very visceral. Longlegs a little bit. But yeah, a lot of horror movies I love, but very few that really scared me. I would say that Oddity was the scariest movie of the year for me personally.
I can see that. I think Oddity is a fantastic movie.
Kent's just broken. That's all.
Yeah.
Would you say that Oddity is better than Caveat, or did you like Caveat more?
I would actually say, I like Oddity more than Caveat.
I haven't seen
maybe
Caveat.
just by a little bit. I don't know, man. Caveat's really good. That I don't
They're
really
both
like
great.
Caveat.
most people don't know about. Yeah. Before we move on, I really want to say, Troy the Cream McClure, thank you so much for your donations. 15 in 3 in total, so $15 man total. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for achieving the goal that I had for tonight's stream. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for joining tonight. Number one, Alex, my man, go ahead.
Speaking of hype, Mr. Death Ray, a lot of people, I think if you got this movie, it was a wild experience. But if you didn't, sucks for you, bro. And this is The Coffee Table for me. I absolutely loved the movie. I thought it was, I really genuinely, I understand that maybe it's kind of riding that line of horror, but ultimately, I've seen a lot of fucking horror movies, and I have never felt like I was trapped in a chair and unable to move for over an hour and like 20 minutes of my life. And I genuinely was fatigued from watching the movie by the end of it. And I was laughing in parts like maniacally, like, it's silly, it's funny. I didn't really see the funniness of it until afterwards of watching it a second time as much. But man, I've never experienced a movie like it, and I absolutely loved it. I had to put it on number one.
Oh man, so that film, I can't remember who. I think it was you, man.
Might
Alex,
be. I was one of the first ones on YouTube.
I saw your video. I was like, what the fuck is this? And so that movie, I think, really can be you can look at it at different perspectives, one as a parent and one as not. and if you guys seen the damn movie, you know what the hell I'm talking about, man. And that movie is very effective as a parent, and especially if you have a child within that age group. I was like, fuck, man, that movie is so intense. However, I love, it's kind of like, for me, Terrifier. They blend in some comedy, they blend in some gore, some horror aspects. With this one, some comedy, some dark content. But I think for me, it blended it really well. And besides Strange Darling, that movie was the most surprising for me because, again, I didn't know anything about it. I knew that it was an international film, but holy shit, like it is phenomenal.
And I get it. Like some people were like, they were like bored out of their mind. I was locked in, and I understand, like, maybe it's not for everybody for sure, but yeah, I don't know, man. Something, the way that they just put you through the ringer in every situation where it's like you're on the hook the whole fucking time. It's too much. I don't know. So
yeah, man. BFFs, Alex. Seriously, man. Seriously. Okay. Ken, you're number one, buddy.
Yeah, I'm going to give my number one, and then I want to talk about one movie from 2025 real quick, and then I'm going to head out because I got to be up for work at 4:30 in the morning, and it's 11:30 here right now, and I got to get my daughter to bed. She's not going to go to bed until I'm with her. But number one for the year, and again, I'm broken. I've talked to very few people that love this movie as much as I did.
If you said a mousetrap, I swear to God.
No.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
It's Mr. Crockett. I fucking loved this movie. This movie had me from the opening scene. There's Major, the kid in it, really reminded me of a kid I grew up with. And like, there's so much about the loss of a child and what would you do? How far would you be willing to go to get your child back? And the practical effects throughout this movie were great. Mr. Crockett himself is a phenomenal character. I would love to get a sequel to this film where we could build on the lore of who Mr. Crockett is. I thought the animation sequences throughout the movie were done really, really well. I could have done without the twist of the movie. I mean, it was kind of a predictable thing anyway, but it's the movie that we were done with it, and I was ready to watch it again right after we hit the credits. that like I said, that opening scene. One of my favorite sequences in the last 10 years probably is when you have Mr. Crockett on the TV and he's ducking down and he comes out of the VCR. Like that whole sequence to me was done so well. And for those of you that haven't seen it, Mr. Crockett is definitely the perfect mix of Mr. Rogers and Pennywise the Clown. Like if you put those two together, you get Mr. Crockett. And
okay.
yeah, it's streaming free on Hulu right now for those that haven't, or Hulu for those that haven't seen it. Definitely worth a watch. But again, I know a lot of people are like, this movie's so fantastic, and they call me like, I don't even know if we're friends anymore. You wasted my time. And I mean, to each their own, obviously, but I really, really did like this movie a whole lot. And one movie, like I said, I know you guys are going to go on to your 2025 stuff. I just want to talk about him real quick. All I know about this movie, and it's got me super stoked. It's an upcoming American sports horror film, and it's starring Marlon Wayans, produced by Jordan Peele. It's a Monkey Paw production. Anytime I hear, like, that was what sold me on Night Swim. I was like, a baseball horror movie? Yeah, put me in, coach. I want to play. And then I was like, never mind, I'm on the injured list. Take me out. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. But when I hear a sports movie and then I hear Jordan Peele's attached to it, Marlon Wayans is starring in it. It's something that I really am very, very excited about. And it's hard for me to do these what am I most excited about movies when it's the beginning of the year. So all I'm really going to pick is either sequels or stuff like that, because I actually kind of have an idea of the premise. I could put Hard Eyes on there. I think that looks cool. I saw that trailer today. I think that looks pretty good. And then, obviously, like the new Final Destination film. There's definitely plenty. Thank you, Dean. To be excited about, but I'm really excited about him. When I heard Marlon Wayans and I heard Jordan Peele, I was like, yeah, I'm sold. I really want to check this movie out. And then I'm actually kind of optimistically, cautiously optimistic about Thread, an Insidious tale. Seeing Mandy Moore join the Insidious universe as like a spin-off of Insidious. I think that could be fun, but I could also see it being an absolute big piece of shit. So
number one for 2025 on Ken's.
Yep. No, my number one.
Final Destination Bloodlines.
Yeah, when you hear Bloodlines, you're like, ooh. But Tony Todd apparently does have a role in the movie. So
okay.
Yeah, that's something I think is really cool. From what I'm hearing, this obviously he was able to film some parts for Bloodlines, so it'll be the last thing he was a part of. So obviously, I'm very, very excited to go in and see that. Then there's other movies like I was never a big I Know What You Did Last Summer guy. So the requel, whatever. 28 years later looks dope. Return of the Living Dead. I think that'll be cool towards the end of the year. But there's just not much that I know about that I can really talk too much on. But so hopefully, like I said, this year started slow, and we ended up having a pretty damn good year.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. I remember being in March, we were all talking like, is something good going to happen?
Yeah. And out of nowhere, it was like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I need that voice again, Cody.
Yeah.
I need that as a soundbite. Thank you guys, everybody, for being on the panel. Kylie, I hope everything stays kosher out there for you. I hope you stay safe. Obviously, Davey, Cody, Alex, Frank, it was really nice to work with you guys again. I'm sorry I have to get so early, but as you see, my 4-year-old keeps coming in here like, yo, bro, bedtime. What the fuck? Mickey
Always
Mouse
great to see you
again. Going to turn itself on. So I got to go get my mouse tools and get her to bed. I seriously hope you all have a great night. Thank you again for inviting me, Frank, and I'll talk to you guys all soon.
Yeah, no problem. Take care, bud. Have a good night.
See you guys.
Trap
Kylie
sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
Where's the sound button? So since he fucking left, guys, what?
This guy, and he's an Ohio State
really
fan. What the hell?
I know, destroyed my damn ducks, son of a bitch. Kylie, you're number one.
I'm sorry, I just got new AirPods and I accidentally somehow just started playing music on top of your voice. I don't know where it's coming from.
That's how I sound. That's all good.
It's
What's the song though? Yeah, what are we supposed to do?
Gone. Nope. Oh, okay. I figured it out. I'm sorry. There's like settings where it's if you I just adjusted
touch
my
it the
ears
pro
and I
way.
touch it and
Is that the pro?
yeah,
Yeah,
I got the Christmas gift. Anyway,
Hell yeah.
okay, my number one, The Substance. So I won't chat about it too much since we have already. I'll just say my favorite thing that Coralie Fargeau said about the movie, that yeah, it's not subtle, but it's still a really unsubtle thing that's fucking happening. So there you go. Yeah,
Mm,
I just loved it. Everything you guys said and more. Yep.
mhm.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
I don't think anybody would be wrong at any of these top three except for Ken.
That
I love
guy.
you, Ken.
You know, I mean, you're
Not even
fucking
here to
wrong, though.
defend himself. I love it.
He's just gonna pop back in and be like, fuck my daughter. I gotta talk about something real
Yeah,
quick.
no, his daughter's gonna come out with those fucking fangs like an Abigail.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. Cody, you're number one.
Number one for me is Abigail. I
Whoa.
love this movie so much. It's one of those movies that just feels like it was made for me. It's like Ready or Not have been watching me and they're like, Cody's been a little down in the dumps since we had about 10 years with no good vampire films because Twilight ruined everything. So let's make something for him. And I saw this in New Orleans at the premiere, and we got a chance to ask them one question. We were supposed to be able to interview them, but they got there late. So they were like, think of one thing to ask them. And I said, what are some of your favorite vampire films and which one influenced this movie the most? And when they said The Lost Boys, I was like, oh, this is going to be so my thing because I'm a Lost Boys whore. Abigail for me, as well as the movie that basically my top 3 or 4 movies of 2024 are the movies that just brought me the most joy, because we see a lot of great movies, but there's not too many, at least on the comedy side of things, that really make me laugh out loud, that just make me smile and happy and elated in a movie theater. And Abigail just had everything. It had great humor. It had great characters, all shitty people that I didn't want to die because they were just so fun to be around. Really good performances there too. Like Melissa Barrera just gets better in everything that I see her in. And Dan Stevens was awesome in this. I really don't get the whole thing about people saying that the trailer ruined Abigail. I still had a blast for the first 30 minutes waiting for that reveal because it was just comedic to me to watch them pointing the fingers at all the wrong things. And then, yeah, once she is unleashed, it's just an absolute gore fest. So I've seen the movie 4 times this year, and it's very rare that I watch a new release more than twice. Usually it's once and I'm out, even if I really like it. So Abigail is just one of those movies that is just my thing through and through. I absolutely loved it.
Beautiful. Hell yeah. Davey, you're number one.
My number one horror film of the year is Late Night with the Devil. This one, I know it's not very scary now, is it? But I felt I was just so immersed in this film. I loved the sort of, it kind of begins like the way that Citizen Kane begins, where you get like this really pertinent backstory on your main character. And they tell you some very revealing personal information about them before you even start to get to know who they are, which I kind of like that kind of front loading and doing it in that expose, newsreel kind of way. I love that. Shout out to Michael Ironside and his beautiful voice there on that one.
Yep.
And I'm not that old to where I was watching, late night talk shows in the 70s, but I was born in the early 80s. So I do remember Johnny Carson, and I've seen, footage of Dick Cavett and all that. And just that old kind of style of the sense of humor and the sensibilities of a talk show host at that time in the nation's history and in television history. I feel like being a talk show host is probably one of the most difficult jobs to ever do. Those guys have to help write these jokes, remember them. They have to be charming. They have to be middle of the road. You have to please so many different kind of people. And I just think David Dastmalchian knocked it out of the park. And he's been really fun in a lot of his more kind of cameo, smaller roles. I think he's always been really charming. It was so cool to see him get to lead a vehicle with this movie and do something that's just so immersive and so unique. I loved going from the 4:3 to the widescreen black and white. I love all the Easter eggs of all the times that when you rewatch the film that you can see the ghost of his wife in the background. There's a couple more obvious ones later on, but earlier on in the movie, there's a whole bunch of sneaky ones that they work in there. And yeah, there was something about the movie that just sort of built and built and built and got more haunting, but they also were able to break the tension with like the humor of the talk show. I love the aesthetic of the film. I don't know. This movie just did everything that I was hoping it would do. And fortunately for me, I saw it on, opening night in the theater. And I think one of the things that, sort of, I think detracted from this movie was the fact that like 3 days after they released it in the theater, they're like, by the way, in 3 weeks, it's going to be on Shudder or whatever.
Mhm.
And so a lot of people waited. And then here we go to that 2024 like hype train kind of thing. So all these people heard really fun, great things about this movie. They waited 3 weeks. They watched it on their couch, distracted by everything. And we're like, oh, it wasn't scary. And I'm like, to me, it was about so much more than that. Such an impressive film. I can't wait to see what the Cairns, hopefully I'm pronouncing their name right, the Cairns brothers do from here. And with Dasmalchian being the only actor that I recognized from the movie, I thought everyone else did a great job as well. I've got multiple copies of this thing. I bought that. I'm not the biggest physical media guy because I'm poor, but I got that like Night Owls edition of it, like the really special, like that was one where I was like, I have to get that. Shout out to Eli Cortez, who was hanging out in the chat earlier, because he sent me the Steelbook that has certain special features that the Night Owls edition didn't have. So, I mean, I loved it so much that I started a show on my channel called Late Night with the Davy. So
Nice.
I'm just a total sucker for this one. I friggin' love this movie. Number one with a gigantic bullet, Late Night with the Devil.
Love it. Hell yeah.
One thing I wanted to point out is I feel like there could be an argument there of seeing it in the theater or at home versus the theater because of the aspect of the show being that it would be on a TV. So for me, I felt like it was better watched at home than in a theater,
cool.
even though I want to support, movies at the theater. So
for me, it's
Which
going to
might
be
have
at
hurt
every. It's going to be in every Halloween watch for me. It's going to be right up there with John Carpenter's
Perfect
Halloween from
Halloween,
1978. It's just absolutely amazing. And the people that bitched about AI images, that's kind of stuff cracks. Cody, it's like the people bitching about the Abigail reveal in the trailer, which to me has nothing to do with how I feel about the movie. To me, I'm like, I'm totally okay with that. I don't care. Like, that's fine. And then people like bitch about AI images. And I'm like, a person that was making a paycheck still made those 3 images that lasted on the screen for like 7 seconds. Y'all.
Yeah, it came out at a really inflammatory time. Like, I don't think it would be that big of a deal if that happened now. But while in the middle of the strikes, it was like 0 tolerance. And so just,
right.
Horror Twitter is rough.
Hijacking it, going back to the Abigail thing. I actually took my dad to go see this just to test that theory, and because I knew he was going to love it. So very few times, twice a year at tops, my dad will go out to the theater with me. And so I told him, I'm like, there's a movie called Abigail. It's coming out in a couple of weeks. I don't want you to watch a trailer. Don't look at a fucking poster. You're going to love it. Let's walk in blind. And so he walked in, didn't know anything but the title. And within about 15 minutes, he's like, so she's like a monster or something, right? Like the movie doesn't hide it. And so that's always been the frustrating thing. I'm like, you see the mural on the wall of bats and shit over the castle. And she says that line like 10 minutes in the movie, like, I'm sorry for what's going to happen to you. And it's like, you think it's that big of a shock? It's not From Dusk Till Dawn level. Nonetheless, I'm sorry. It just drives me nuts. I get going.
For sure.
Nice.
It's a very authentic movie though. Like as far as like how they like nailed that 70s feel, man. Fucking love that, man. The music in it too. Like, holy crap, was that on the nose right there?
And just the faces that Dasmalchian made, just everything. I'm like, man, this guy must have studied so much tape. And I love seeing when actors push themselves and do something different. Going back to Abigail, I agree with you, Cody. Melissa Barrera keeps on getting better, and I love that for her. I think that's very encouraging. And I've heard that she wants to produce. Get a little bit of that Sydney Sweeney producing going on. I think we need more young performers that want to put their money where their mouth is and have some sort of say in what goes on with these films. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great stuff, Davey. Hell yeah. Really quick before I go to my number one, since we have a whole bunch of horror channels on question, how do you think that both movies can utilize both practical effects and CGI effects in movies without throwing side at both artists?
Shade maybe, or
I mean,
Yeah, I
the
think it's
best
good.
effects are the ones that blend both. That's why you hear things like the original Smile, where the monster comes out. Everybody thought that was CGI, and it's practical with a few touch ups. Same with, we were talking about the third act, the climax of Alien Romulus, where everybody's like, "That's a pretty badass CGI effect," and you're like, "Oh, actually, it wasn't." So I think the best is where they merge them together, where you can't tell. It's when you get something like the deep fake, where you're like, clearly fake, or you get So even like Late Night with the Devil is interesting because it's practical effects, but it was almost too organic. Like the thing that was coming out of the eye, it was like clearly practical, maybe a little too much, but yeah, coming together.
Yeah. Anyone else really quick?
That's
I'm
the
right
only
there.
correct answer, really. Yeah.
Yeah. There's room for all. It's just about what kind of movie you're making and what kind of mix you want to do. But I think, you lean on the practical because in camera always is going to be more believable. And then you use CG as accents and to assist with what's there practically.
It's funny. I don't know if you guys remember anybody complaining about the end of Evil Dead Rise for the last scene. People were complaining about that, saying it was like CGI. And the reason that it didn't work functionally perfect is because he went practical. And it was just such a chore to get all these people, you know what I mean, into this big ball. And I was like, wow, that's like crazy. I never thought about it. Now we're in an area where we're now knowing how much to put in or not, like, and what's of good taste or not. So I'm glad to see that's happening.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you guys, and thank you to Tony Movie Chappie. I really appreciate it for the $9.99 super chats. We already touched upon it a bunch of times, but my number one is The Substance, man. That movie is just beautiful. Demi Moore, I think she's my favorite overall performance. I mean, you guys touched upon it earlier, but just again, where she's at in her career in real life. It was a perfect timing, perfect role for her, and every actor in that film. And then Dennis Quaid, and Margaret, of course, but Dennis Quaid playing that type of character, plays it so well, and how the camera just zooms in on that nastiness and some of the scenes and everything. I just love it. Practical effects, man. I love practical effects. So the body horror, I should say, and practical effects, but body horror specifically, jeez, man, that's one of the best body horror movies, I think. And just how it ended, like Alex, you touched upon it, like you thought it was going to end, but then it goes further and further and further. And for people who know me, I love those fucking films, man. Like they know what they are and they just go for it. They just went for it.
I thought the end was a chef's kiss with like the sweeper.
Yeah, exactly, man. Perfect chef's kiss, man, for real. Guys, really quick, any your most anticipated 2025 films? So Alex.
I'll pick there's a couple. There's Ash. I really want to see Flying Lotus's new movie that seems a little bit more like a story. His last one, Kuso, was just fucking bananas, like mind-melting acid trip shit. But this one I think is going to be very acid trippy too, but it's also going to be cosmic horror, which is one of my favorite subgenres. And
The Void.
Dude, it looks impressive. I think I'm starting to become more sci-fi. I mean, I guess I always have been since H.P. Lovecraft and everything like that, but man, this one looks really good, and it looks like a really good sci-fi film, like the ships and the gear and the like everything that they're doing in it is really, the artistry in it is really there. So I don't really remember what the story's about, guys, so if anybody knows, like, I apologize. I think it's like these people are traveling in space and they land on a planet and they start going crazy. I don't remember. Another one that I'm interested in is a little bit on the indie kind of practical effects side is Devour, which is about a struggling all-female metal band that have a taste for blood. And while on tour, their van breaks down in the middle of nowhere. Seeking help, they come across a town full of sort of cannibals that are from hell, led by an infamous warlock.
What the hell?
Dude, The creature effects in this look
wow.
phenomenal, dude. They have a minotaur in this fucking movie, dude. Like,
Sign my ass up.
Yes, I
now
was.
some people are gonna see it's schlocky or whatever, but if you watch some of the like scenes and like behind the scenes stuff on it, like the pictures are just amazing. So
Oh
I
my
can't wait to see
gosh.
that. And
Sounds
then
great.
yeah, I'm hoping it's good. And then of course I am curious to see, you know, I really liked Malignant. I think James Wan is a true horror fan, even though he has led us in some pretty wild directions, to say the least. I think that the Call of Cthulhu might be good, and I'm hoping
Ooh.
that if it comes out this year, I hope it's really good, even though I was kind of rooting for Guillermo del Toro's version of it. I love his aesthetics. And then last, I just want to mention this last one. Dust Bunny looks is one of my top ones that I'm kind of interested in. This is written and directed by Brian Fuller, Hannibal. He's got Mads Mikkelsen in it, of course, and Sigourney Weaver, which is interesting. They have an 8-year-old girl asking her scheming neighbor, which I presume is David Dastmalchian, and help for killing a monster under her bed, and she thinks ate her family. And it's Brian Fuller, so it's not going to just be a monster under the bed, I presume.
That one's been announced for a long time. I feel I talked about that one like last year or like the end of 2022 or something.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's been no news about it. And like the whole team I was stoked about, but Brian Fuller is going through some stuff behind the scenes.
I don't
kind of
remember
Yeah,
what
yeah, he's getting
there?
jammed. He's getting jammed up a little bit, huh?
So
I don't
I
remember.
think that might be why. So I'm like, just replace him. Like this cast and that concept. I'm like,
It
give it to
sounds
me.
cool.
Yeah. But
I haven't even heard about it.
Yeah, I
thank
didn't
you
know
for
about
looking
any
that
of
up.
the drama stuff. So, but yeah, that's mine.
Kylie.
Oh yeah. I put out like a ranking of what I was most anticipating, and I could not find that list anywhere, but there were a couple that I didn't talk about in my video. So The Shrouds, which is David Cronenberg's upcoming movie this spring, so follows a grieving man as he invents technology that enables the living to monitor their dead departed in their shrouds. So like you can watch your loved ones decay in their grave, basically, which I'm not even like a crazy Cronenberg fan. Him and his son and now his daughter, Caitlin Cronenberg, did Humane this past year. I don't know if you guys saw that one.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It was okay. But like I just have Possessor right here, but like Possessor, Antiviral, Crimes of the Future, like they're not movies that I like, but I think about them for years after the fact. So I do always highly anticipate them. So that's definitely one of my most anticipated. And then another one called Opus, I just learned about. So Io Edebri is starring in it, and it's being funded by A24, I guess. And I tend to enjoy what they distribute. So her character is invited to the compound of a legendary pop star who mysteriously disappeared 30 years ago, and she's surrounded by the star's cult of sycophants and intoxicated journalists. So she finds herself in the middle of somewhat of a scheme, I guess. So Io Edebri in horror, say less, basically, and it seems like it's probably a cool team putting it together. So I'm pretty stoked for that one. I guess that one's coming in March.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting. Yeah.
Cody.
All right. I haven't done much of a deep dive, so a lot of these smaller films I'm glad you guys are covering. I pretty much just know more of the mainstream stuff at the moment. I don't have a lot of confidence that it's actually going to come out. For some reason, there seems to be a lot of production issues, but Saw 11 supposedly is going to be dated for later this year. I was kind of a borderline Saw hater for a long time, and then Saw X really brought me back. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do to follow that up. This is horror comedy, but Death of a Unicorn looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I didn't even watch the rest of the trailer because anytime I get hooked, I just stop. But whenever it got to Will Poulter and they're like, it's a fucking unicorn. He's like, I don't think I should be wearing swim shorts in this moment. I was like, yep, sold. And so that made me laugh. I don't know what to expect from it, but Black Phone 2, just because I love the first one. I don't know if it's a prequel. I don't know if they're getting Bizarro and bringing back the grabber as a spirit. I don't know what's going on, but going to check that one out. Sinners, I'm really interested in if it's a vampire film. This is the yeah, it's got to stay on brand.
Specifically.
Yeah, this is the Ryan Coogler movie with Michael B. Jordan playing two roles, the brothers, and they had the trailer come out not too long ago. It didn't show whatever the threat is. I've heard that it's vampires. That's been the rumor, but if they confirm it, it'll stay where it is. If not, it'll probably drop. Really excited for Wolfman. Don't have to wait too long for that one. And then, of course, 28 years later. I feel like I've been waiting 28 years for this fucking movie, so I'm ready to check it out.
What if it's like vampires or like zombie vampire or something mix? Because I saw one of the special effects guys just put up a post recently, and I wonder, they were like, we need people for vampire zombies.
I mean, that's cool too. That's cool too. I love Ryan Coogler, so no matter what he does, I'm sure it's going to be a really cool movie. But if it's a vampire flick, my hype is going to be much higher than if it's not. So vampire zombies, vampire werewolves, vampire whatever the fuck, I'll be there.
You're flexible.
I didn't know that wasn't confirmed. I thought that it was like for sure.
I thought so too. And then I saw the trailer and I was like, weird that they didn't show it. And then you look at all the plot descriptions and everything official and it doesn't say anything. So it's like, it's just the things that people heard that he was shooting. And I'm like, weird to play so coy with it. And if it's what you're describing with vampire hybrids, and I guess that makes sense.
Maybe that's just how they're like marketing and selling because it's Ryan Coogler. He hasn't done like horror. Michael B. Jordan hasn't really done horror, right?
No,
so,
I haven't seen either of them do horror yet. It's part of the reason why I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I was in New Orleans and I actually got to meet him very briefly. I should have asked him, but like, hey man, are they vampires? Let me know.
Give me a scoop.
Yeah.
Nice. Davey.
All right, so I've got a few here. I'm really looking forward to Heart Eyes because I like holiday-based horror movies.
That's how you know the slashers are going strong right now when we're going back to holiday shit.
We're getting, well, I kind of like that throwback to that 80s feel, at least like that, the, spiritual feel of like the 80s. And I think, with Hard Eyes, again, I just watched the teaser trailer. I didn't watch the one that just came out because I'm already interested enough. I like the look of the killer and everything. And we only have like one good Valentine's. I mean, like My Bloody Valentine, the original, I think is great. I think Valentine is like, ugh, that one's pretty rough. And the My Bloody Valentine remake is basically like a CW show to me, with a bunch of gore. So I'm really looking forward to another Valentine's themed slasher. Really looking forward to The Monkey, directed by Osgood Perkins. And, it looks like, we're still going to get, it looks a little more like not as auteur as something like Longlegs was. So again, I like seeing creative people try different things. I'm sure it's still going to look beautiful and everything. It seems to have a little bit more of a dark sense of humor, which I kind of like that vibe that I'm picking up on it.
I know two people who have seen it and they said it's a lot of fun. And I'm like, okay, I need fun Osgood after the last two.
and it's tough with Stephen King is so hit and miss when his stories get, adapted to film. It is just kind of like, is it going to work or not? And I think Rowan Campbell is absolutely fantastic. Like I'm a huge Halloween Ends fan. I think even if you don't like the story of the film, it's pretty undeniable that the performances and everything are there. And I think he's extremely charming. And don't see too much of him in the trailer, but excited to just see him in something else. And then my most anticipated film of 2025 is going to be the follow-up to Thanksgiving, because that movie, holy shit, one of the best the best original slasher I've seen since the first Scream film, like easily for me. It is an absolute, talk about throwback to the 80s vibe. I know everyone was saying, oh, it's like Scream, and I know what you did last summer. And I'm like, that's cute. You must be 25. Because it is so much more like The Prowler and My Bloody Valentine than it is anything else. That 80s whodunit revenge slasher. And I love that. I think that we have a spoiler. Hopefully everyone's seen Thanksgiving here. I won't get too spoilery, but I think we have a really cool opportunity where the very first film of the franchise can be a true whodunit. It seems like the killer has probably lived through everything in the first film, and we'll know who they are because there was a reveal. So the sequel can just be a straight up slasher where we get John Carver going after Jessica and the survivors. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what Eli Roth can do with that follow-up. I love that they're taking the time, that they took that extra year and didn't rush it. I'm not even the biggest Eli Roth fan, but he really got me with that movie. Like I loved Thanksgiving, the chemistry of the cast. Patrick Dempsey is amazing in it. Shout out to being 61 years old and winning Sexiest Man Alive. So there's still hope for me yet, everybody. And I'm so pumped for Thanksgiving. Like I want some more of that. I'll take all that you got. So again, you can't call John Carver iconic because it's still so new, but that look that they have for John Carver is absolutely amazing. Like, what an awesome look. Kind of gives me the Michael Myers vibes because the face is just blank. I love attributing my own feelings and emotion on that and just being creeped out at the blankness of it all. And I can't fucking wait. Thanksgiving 2, there will be leftovers.
Nice. Damn, what a hype, man. Man, I just love all the passion from all
Thanksgiving
of y'all.
to the kids' table.
I like to talk.
Hell yeah.
I agree with you though, man. Like, I really love that movie. That was like, I rewatched it again with my girlfriend, and she was just like, "Oh my god, this is so much better than I thought it was gonna be." And I was like, "Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Like, it's really fun."
It totally blew my expectations out of the water when I saw it. I was like, "Oh, this could be fun," and then I watched it and was like, "Holy shit, dude!"
I'd even go as far as say it's probably one of his best movie because like I don't like the other ones as much. So.
It's a masterclass. It's like he put an A+ project together. 80s revenge whodunit slasher, knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Okay.
My most anticipated for 2025, Wolfman already was mentioned. It looks freaking awesome. And then I wasn't joking, man. I really am excited for a companion. The trailer for that, it just looks so good. One of my favorite movies that doesn't really get talked about is Flesh, and that kind of gives me the same kind of vibes. And I love it. Another one you guys already touched upon it is, of course, 28 Years Later. And then there was 28 Years Later.
Did we mention it? I don't think anybody did.
I did.
Yeah.
Did you?
Cody.
Okay. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie too. Fear Street Prom Queen. I don't know. That one just seems pretty damn interesting. And then They Follow, of course, because I love the first one.
Is that one coming this year?
I wasn't sure, but it should be on my list if it is.
Ooh,
I thought it was. At least that's when I looked it up. So it better, damn it.
I feel like it should get distribution pretty quick, even if it's not a great film for some reason. You know what I mean? Like, someone's gonna pick it up.
So guys, before we go, thank you so much. Thank you to the chat room. Literally, thank you guys for taking the time out of your day for being on the show. I had a blast. And I want you guys to again promote your channel, guys. What do you have going on next? So Alex, go ahead.
Well, I do a lot of like underground old stuff. I like to go back and I watch anything from like H.P. Lovecraft, anime. If it's horror, I just want to explore it and find new stuff, even for me. So I'm always on the lookout for it. I do a mix of physical media and I do a lot of new. I've been doing a lot more lists lately to try to challenge myself a little bit. And I got my top 24 up, which you heard half of it, but you can hear the other half coming. And then I just put up, I'm going to be putting up the other half, the other 10 movies soon. So if you want to keep an eye out for that. Plus, I'm going to unbox this big boy right here.
Oh, Never Ending Story. Yeah, baby.
Which Frank already did. I don't know if it's worth doing it, but I got to do it anyway. So I don't care if it gets 20 likes or whatever.
Dude, that's flipping amazing. Mine arrived damaged, but it got replaced. So it should be here in a couple days. So hell yeah. Kylie, go ahead.
I do a little bit of everything, reviews, deep dives, rankings, whatever. On Monday is when I'm releasing like my ranking of all 70 of the horror releases that I watched. But the most exciting thing coming to my channel this year is my second independent short film that I directed. So that should be coming. I get my last festival notification in like a week. And then depending on that, then I know when I can release it publicly to my channel. So it'll either be coming in February or not until like April, March, depending on if it gets into this last one. So we will see. That's what I'm most stoked for on my channel this year.
Hell yeah. Nice. Cody.
All right. Well, I dropped my worst of the year today. Tomorrow will be the best of the year. And then Thursday is my planned day to do the ranking all 130 films that I saw in 2024. It's going to be a lot of work. So hopefully it's out by Thursday. If not, it'll be Friday. And then the last one, and then we're done talking about like the end of the year stuff, would be the most anticipated, which will probably be on Saturday.
Nice. Davey. You're muted, buddy.
Buddy.
I go live all the time on my channel. Pre-recorded stuff gives me more nerves than going live, so I usually go live a few times a week. We have an awesome community over there. The people in the chat and the people that sub and hang out on the streams are absolutely amazing. So if you like live streams and you like people talking about horror and all that kind of stuff, I love engaging with the chat as well. It's a big part of what I love doing over there. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, my show Late Night with the Davey airs. And I bring on, fellow content creators. We have discussions about topics, or maybe sometimes like I got Damien Maffei on the channel right around Halloween. So it was like an interview about his experience acting. I've had, directors and writers and all that kind of stuff on there as well. So that's sort of like the flagship show for my channel, but going live all the time. Like tomorrow I'm going live at 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to do a live review of Nosferatu. And then on Friday, I'm going to do a live where I'm going to talk about my favorite movies from my childhood and engage with the audience and, find out what you really loved when you were a kid. So, just always going live, talking horror, talking music, talking movies, and just connecting with the audience and trying to grow that community here on YouTube.
Yeah, hell yeah. To promote my stuff. So the next two live streams is next week is my 1 year anniversary on YouTube. I can't believe it. Time goes by too damn fast.
Yeah, man.
And 2 weeks after that, on the 28th, I'm doing a modern horror deep dive into the modern horror recommendations. And that is going to be with Planet CHH, Cobwebs channels, Splattercast, and Beyond the Grave. So another great panel for that one. And of course, y'all know me, so physical media, look out for those type of videos. I'll probably do an unboxing part 2 for the Never Ending Story. Hopefully it will not arrive at damage. So thank you guys so much for joining. Again, thank you to the chat and thank you to this wonderful panel. Follow them, they're wonderful. So thank you guys and have a great one.
Appreciate it.